Stampers, this is Trevis. Welcome to Video Friday. And so today, happy April Fool's Day. It's April 1st, but today it's not an April Fool's joke. I'm actually going to do some stamping with you called water stamping. And so there's different ways that you can do this, but the way I'm going to do it today is super easy. So let's get started today. Okay, so the stamp set that I'm going to be using is called Color and Contour. So this stamp set does have coordinating dies with it. I'm not going to be using the dies today. I'm simply going to use the stamp set. 13 stamps in this photopolymer set. So let's get started and I will show you how this works. I'm going to be using 3 stamp pads today. I'm going to be using Flirty Flamingo, Poppy Parade, and Highland Heather. These colors look great together. And I'm also going to be using some designer series paper from the mini catalog. And this is called, I'm testing myself here. It's a Valentine paper. I'm going to be using this side. So this is the Highland Heather side. The stripe. I'll think of it here in a second maybe. But anyway, it's with the Valentine stuff. Okay, so I'm going to be using some of my favorite paper, right, which is the shimmery white. Has that little tiny sparkle to it. Okay, and the stamps that I'm going to be using today, I'm going to be using the flower. So I'm going to be using, they coordinate together. They don't necessarily line up, so that is actually a good thing. I'm going to stamp this several times. First color I'm going to use is Flirty Flamingo, then Poppy Parade, and then Highland Heather. So you do have to have your stamp cleaner nearby because you need to clean your stamp in between colors. Okay, so I'm going to ink up the flower. It's kind of a, I would call it kind of an abstract flower. It's cool though. Okay, so I'm going to ink that up and then I'm going to spritz a little water on it. I'm going to go off to the side here a little bit. Just spritz a little water onto the stamp, okay, and then I'm going to stamp it down onto my cardstock, hold it for about 5 seconds, and then lift it off. And it gives you that really cool flower. Very watery. Okay, so you want to clean your stamp, and then pull up the next color. Now I'm using Poppy Parade. And again, I'm going to spritz it. I don't want to spritz it right here because the water will go everywhere. So I'm going to go off camera for a second. Do a little spritz. And if you get a little too much water on there, it's okay. It's going to be cool. Hold it down. Count to about 5 and lift it off. Now, you know what? I'm going to do 2 of these, but I'm going to make sure that it's dry before I take it to my pad again. So I'm going to clean it in between just to make sure that the stamp's dry. You don't want to take a wet stamp to the pad. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp it one more time right up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the reason I'm using shimmery white is because it does have that little bit of protective sheen over it, I guess I would call it, and it doesn't soak in as fast. It kind of leaves a little bit of ink to dry, drying time. I don't know how to explain it, but if you have shimmery white, use that. Okay, now I'm going to pick up some Highland Heather, spritz. You might be thinking, I'm not really crazy about it so far. You're going to be happy here in a second. Ink this up one more time. I'm going to do 2 of these Highland Heather flowers. Okay. And then I'm going to stamp this one right here. I could stamp this one more time. I wonder if I would, oh, I better not. I think I better just leave it. I was going to stamp it again. It kind of would have turned out kind of cool. Okay, so I'm done stamping that. Now you need to let your cardstock dry. And the main thing the reason we want to do this is we're going to come back and we're going to stamp it in the outline stamp. But we want to make sure that this dries so that this stamp does not, because this is dye-based ink, right? So we don't want it to bleed. So we want to make sure that this dries. All right. So magic of television. Now I am going to just take this stamp, and I already did one. Okay, so this is the same thing, but I just let it dry. I did it ahead of time and I let it dry. This is Poppy Parade. And you actually don't want these lined up, right? You don't want to try to line these up because they look very cool this way. So I'm stamping Poppy Parade over the Poppy Parade originals. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with Highland Heather. Now I'm not wetting these this time, right? I'm just letting the original dry, and then I'm stamping over it the outline. Okay, now you can see how cool that is. Very artsy. I love it. Now the next thing is even cool. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take a Q-tip. I'm going to actually close these pads because I'm done with them. And I'm going to take a Q-tip and I'm going to bring in some of our white glue. I'm just going to put a little bit in the center of each one. Just take a Q-tip and smear it in the center. Okay. And you're thinking, what is that for? Well, I'm going to let that dry, okay? And when that glue dries, it's still a little sticky. Even though the glue dries, it does leave a little sticky, okay? And what we want to do now is, this one I did ahead of time, this one right here, and I let it dry, okay? So now I'm going to take my Gilded Leafing. So Gilded Leafing is actually in the annual catalog. It comes in a big container like this. And when you open this, this is just like, it just expands. Okay, so be prepared for that. When you open it, don't have a ceiling fan going. Don't have a fan blowing on you. Because this gold leafing will start to expand and it just sort of flies everywhere. So what I would recommend is something like this. You want to put your Gilded Leafing in here, okay, and open it very gently. Okay, and then I have a designated sponge just for gold leafing. Oops, see, it's starting. I think I blew on it. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of that gold leafing on my sponge. And I'm going to rub it onto that center where the glue was. Okay, so these aren't dry, but this one was. And can you see how gorgeous that is in the center? Oh, I love it. So I keep the sponge specifically just for the gold leafing. And the reason is because even if you think it's clean, it's not. It still has some gold on it and it will go into your project. Okay, so I'm going to keep that separate. Close this gently. Now when the rest of those dry, I will finish this and it will look like this. Okay, so I wasn't as careful with the Q-tip on these. I actually just did it with my finger and I did the glue. But once it dried, I came back with the gold leafing and that is what it did. Isn't that so pretty? I love it. Gold leafing has a whole different look to anything else. I mean, gold embossing powder is cool, but this is the best. Okay, so let's finish our card. All right. So I have a half a piece of white cardstock. This is thick white cardstock. I'm going to fold that in half. I'm going to put this on next. So this is my designer series paper. Still haven't thought of the name, sorry. I will post that though. Okay, I'll put this all the way over here. Okay, and then I have this piece that's done. Put some adhesive on here. Just like that. And you're probably wondering why I did not put a flower here. That's where I'm going to put my sentiment. Okay, so I have a little piece of the shimmery white cardstock, and I'm going to do You're Absolutely Amazing. I'm going to stamp this in black memento. You're absolutely amazing. Okay, and then I'm going to mount that on a small piece of Highland Heather cardstock. So I'm going to cut this down. A little wide, so I'm going to cut this down a little bit. Some dimensionals on the back. So if you don't have any gold leafing, you can definitely do some different things, right? You can do some centers out of rhinestones. I have another version here I'll show you. Okay, so there's my finished card with the gold leafing. I absolutely love this water stamping. Gives it that soft look. And then I have this one. So this is one that I just used the little silver metallic pearls. So I just put 3 in the center of each one. So just as an option, you could use that. You could do any kind of rhinestones. And you could even just, you know, stamp something in the center if you wanted. A little flower or something like that in the center. Okay, so hope you enjoyed this this technique today, water stamping. Give it a shot, and I'll see you on Tuesday. Happy April 1st. Bye.